ביאור משנה ד'. Explanation for Mishnah Daled. משנתנו בא ללמד, our Mishnah comes to teach, עד איזו שעה מותר לאכול חמץ בערב פסח. So we know the time of burning. The question is until what time you're allowed to eat chametz. So, logically, what do you mean? I'm allowed to eat until the burning. That's the logical understanding, right? ומתי שעת ביורו, and it's also going to discuss when is the time to burn it. וכבר ביארנו, we already mentioned שהשעות הנזכרות במשנה הן שעות זמניות. Every time the Mishnah tells us hours, it doesn't mean 60 minutes. It means you divide the daytime into 12 hours, and that, so sometimes it can be 6 hours. I mean, if you're living up in Canada, if you live in Canada, sometimes it can be 15 hours, 16 hours, and that you divide into 12 parts. So some hours are only 50 minutes, some hours can be an hour and 20 minutes. It depends what time you. By the way, I think during Pesach, in Israel anyway, also over here, it's usually around 12, 13 hours. Yeah, so it's almost it's almost 60 minutes anyway. Okay? So this is called שעות זמניות, ולא יחידות זמן קבועות. It's not just like the minutes that we have today. והיינו, שמחלקים את היום, we're going to divide the day, מעלות השחר עד צאת הכוכבים, from sunrise, from dawn until the stars come out, ל-12 חלקים, to 12 parts, וכל חלק ה-12 של היום נקרא שעה זמנית. And that part is called a שעה זמנית, an hour. אומנם באמצע ניסן, we're talking about this is going to happen in the middle of Nisan, בשעה שאינה מעוברת, in a year, as long as it is not a pregnant year, שאורך היום בארץ ישראל הוא בין 12-13 שעות. At that time in Israel, the length of the day is between 12 and 13 hours. אין הבדל גדול בין שעות זמניות לשעות הנהוגות אצלנו. There's not going to be a big difference between the hours to our hours. It's almost the same. אבל יש עוד הבדל במניין השעות בינינו לבינם. But they measure it differently. Still different than us. How are different? שאנו מונים את השעות מחצות הלילה ומחצות היום. We put midday, how do we put midday? From the middle of the day or the middle of the night. They don't care what's the middle of the day. They're going to start the 6 hours from sunrise. So if sunrise is later or sunrise is earlier, it can come, change your whole perspective. ובזמן המשנה יומנים אותה מן הבוקר. In the time of the Mishnah, you would check it from the morning. היינו מעלות השחר, which means when the dawn comes in. יש אומרים מנץ החמה, there are those who says when the sun peaks. But anyway, it's a difference of 40 minutes between them. עד הערב, until the evening. היינו עד צאת הכוכבים. ויש אומרים עד שקיעת החמה. There are those who says until the sunset. Again, it's not that much of a difference. Yeah. Yeah. Rabbi Meir אומר, Rabbi Meir says, so let's learn how Rabbi Meir says. אוכלים חמץ ב-14 בניסן, so you eat in the 14th of Nisan chametz, כל 5 שעות של היום. The first 5 hours of the day, you're allowed to eat chametz. No problem, go ahead, eat. כגון, אם אורך היום הוא 12 שעות, if it's, let's say it's exactly 12 hours, מ-6 בבוקר עד 6 בערב, from 6 to 6, אוכלים חמץ עד 11 לפני הצהריים. You're allowed to eat חמץ until 11. When 11 hours comes in, you're not allowed to eat chametz anymore. In other words, between 11 and 12, even though you should be allowed to eat, he says don't eat. Why? And then he says, ושורפים את החמץ בתחילת 6. And you burn the chametz in the beginning of the 6 hours. בתחילת השעה השישית של היום, in the beginning of the 6 hours. ואף על פי, in other words, he wants you to start the burning of the chametz at 11 o'clock. Even though the Torah says it's only 12 o'clock. 6 hours. So he says, he says start burning it in the beginning of the 6 hour. Yeah? Which means you eat it until 10:59, let's say, and you start burning at 11:01. Yeah. ואף על פי שמן התורה אין החמץ אסור אלא מחצות היום. He says, hey, but from the Torah, I can still maybe use it until 12 o'clock. ואילך, מכל מקום עשו חכמים סייג לבערו שעה קודם לכן. It says, the rabbis made a decree to do it 1 hour before. גזרה, it says, it's a decree, שמא יטעו ויחשבו על השעה השביעית שהיא השישית. They might make a mistake. They didn't have watches like in our time. Yeah? Let's discuss this a little bit. Yeah.
Why don't they do it on Shabbos? It's going to be a mistake in maybe an hour, make it hour.
In Shabbos it's easy. You can see the sun. Sunset or not sunset. You look at the sun.
Oh, and here you don't see the sun.
We'll see over here. It's still strange. I'll tell you why it's strange. Because you know exactly when midday is. How do you know exactly midday? You stand and you see if the shadow is on your left or your shadow is on the right. You know, midday means the sun is exactly overhead. So you put a stick, or you stand and you look at the shadow. Where's the shadow, here or here? But what happens if it's a cloudy day? So it says because of those cloudy days, they decided.
They didn't have the time there.
Yeah. It says they knew exactly when midday is always because of the sun. But after that, you're stuck. How would you know?
Even though it's Chodesh Nisan, but it could be cloudy.
Yeah, it says.
They didn't have a clock like that.
That's right.
They have a clock. Well, you look at the clock.
Exactly. Exactly. Their clock was the sun, and you can make a mistake. Okay. So this is according to Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Meir says until 5. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Rabbi Yehuda is going to be more stringent. Rabbi Yehuda says, Ochlin kol arba'a. It says you eat 4 hours. All the 4 hours, not 5. Ad sha'a 10. It says you're allowed to eat until 10, not until 11.
That's what I remember.
שגזרו חכמים על האיסור אכילת חמץ שעתיים קודם זמן איסורו מן התורה. He says the sages didn't only went 1 hour before, because of the mistake you can make, they went 2 hours before. ותולין כל 5, and they hang the entire 5. In other words, we'll have to figure out what does it mean they hang it. What are you allowed to do between 11 and between 10 and 11? So it says you have to finish to finish eating on the 10 at 10 o'clock. But it says vetolin and you hang. It means there's something else you're allowed to do between 10 and 11, which you need to figure out. And at 11 you burn. But what can you do? You cannot do anything with it. vetolin kol 5, בשעה החמישית, in the 5th hour, מניחים את החמץ בדין ספק. You're going to put the chametz, you're going to call it, I'm not sure I should burn it yet, I'm not sure I can eat it yet, so therefore because I'm not sure right now, I leave it. שאינו נאכל ואינו נשרף. I cannot eat it, but I cannot burn it yet, it's not time for burning. שהואיל ועניין זה מסור להמון ולעמי הארץ, it says because this is a mitzvah that has to do with the entire nation, not just the rabbis, everybody's doing it. חוששים גם לטעות של 2 שעות. It says when it comes to rabbis, the rabbis are makpid, are very accurate. But over here everybody's doing it, we're afraid, we're going to take now extra. ומבואר בגמרא, and the Gemara explains, שאף על פי שבשעה החמישית חמה במזרח ובשביעית חמה במערב, it says, but what do you mean they're going to make a mistake? Look at the sun, it's easy. So it says, even though the sun is in the east and the sun is in the west, in midday, you can make such a mistake. אין טועים בשעות אלו, at midday exactly, you can make a mistake. מכל מקום גזרו חכמים משום יום מעונן. Nevertheless, the sage says there might be a cloudy day and you want me to know. שעלולים לטעות בו, אף בין השעה החמישית לשביעית. And then it says people might make a mistake 2 hours. ושורפין בתחילת 6. And then you're going to burn it at 11 o'clock, just like Rabbi Yehuda. שמאותה שעה אסור מדרבנן אף בהנאס. From that time, from that time it's prohibited from even to enjoy even from the Rabbanan. So it looks like, according to, what's the difference between Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda? Rabbi Yehuda, after 10 o'clock, allows you to feed it to your animals. It says you're not allowed to eat it, but you're allowed to feed it to the animals. Rabbi Meir says, no, once 11 o'clock comes in, that's it, you're done. You cannot feed it to the animal. You and the animals are in the same category. Over here, Rabbi Meir says, you can eat it until 10. Then you can feed it to the animals until 11. And then, burn it. Yeah. So in other words, but Rabbi Yehuda is giving you going an hour earlier, but because of that you have the in between, in between to play with it. That's right. הואילו מתחילת 7 מתחיל איסורו מן התורה. It says only on the 7th hour it begins the prohibition from the Torah. ברם, בחמישית אינו צריך לשרוף. Even according to Rabbi Yehuda, in the 5th hour he doesn't need to burn. שכן אותו שעה עדיין החמץ מותר בהנאה. He's still allowed to have enjoyment from it, which means he's allowed to feed it to his animals on the 5th hour. כגון להאכילו לבמתו. For example, to feed it to his animal. והלכה כרבי יהודה. And the law is like Rabbi Yehuda, that until the 4th hour we eat, the 5th hour we can give it to the animal, and the 6th hour we have to burn.